Turbo engine accelerators. Status confirmed. Checking weapon controls. Status confirmed. Sequence initialized.
They give it to Juszczyk. He tries to bounce it to the outside, loses the ball, and scooped up by the Rams. And racing down the sideline is Akeem Talib, and he is thrown down inside the 10. A huge turnover by Juszczyk.
To scoop and try to score. The worst possible start for 49ers offense that has trouble scoring points anyway. In the red zone.
Here it is, he throws, the ball's in the air, and it's intercepted. And bringing it all the way back to the 10, still on his feet is Corey Littleton. And it's intercepted once more by Littleton to the end zone. They give it to Cooks, got a block. And he's inside the 5 and into the end zone for Brandon Cooks. And the man to replace Whitworth, Joseph Noteboom, led the way. Play action once more. And this time to the end zone. That is a touchdown for Josh Reynolds.
Welcome to a new Clash of the Horns, and the Rams end up wrapping their 2018 regular season with a 13-3 record, beating the San Francisco 49ers 48-32, and also showing mercy because we could have kept going and going, but we decided to take out the starters, rest our players, which I thought was a really good sign for the Rams, and a very, very dominant performance by the Rams defense. I'm telling you, so dominant. We basically won this game by the first quarter because of just how good a defense is creating pressure and turnovers, and Aaron Donald getting his one sack. Even though Aaron Donald didn't break the all-time NFL record, because in my opinion, I think Scamahan ended up making a game plan where he would just double team Aaron Donald consistently and basically just throw the ball before he got there. And I mean, it worked because Donald only got one sack, but they did create multiple turnovers because of that fact that they weren't going to take the sack from Aaron Donald. So a win's a win. I think Aaron Donald knows like the main prize right now is getting to the Super Bowl, winning the Super Bowl. And I think that it does suck for such a dominant player and a very shitty game plan to basically stop it from beating it. And they were just, I noticed that the 49ers only game plan was give it to Kettle, who was their tight end, who's a really good, decent tight end, receiving tight end, but ended up getting those yards in garbage time because the Rams took out their secondary and they took out their linebackers at a certain point, and that's when we ended up getting beating the record and got a touchdown at the very end. So the Rams still are the second seed in the NFC. I told Saints fans that we will end up playing them in LA after the Rams get the second seed, but we ended up losing to the damn Eagles, so that ended up messing that up. But we're still in the second seed. We don't know who we're going to play. I will be making a video about the playoffs soon, but since this is a Rams and Niners video, we're going to be talking about the big shot callers in this game for the Rams. And C.J. Anderson, another 132-yard performance, basically just playing his hearts out. And I noticed on Twitter, he's out there telling everybody that, keep doubting him. And I like that about a guy. I like that he's hungry and he wants to win another Super Bowl. And that's exciting to see from a Rams fan because he's won one. And he's playing pretty good. He's basically putting up Todd Gurley numbers, just not in such a dominant fashion. But he's still out there hustling and getting his work done. And he's still like making people miss, and he's creating a lot of opportunities for Jared Goff with the play action pass, and that's what we needed. So I like that they're taking CJ Anderson as a legit running back, and he keeps performing well, man. And the offensive line is creating holes, and they're doing a really good job for Jared Goff and CJ Anderson at the moment. And obviously Todd Gurley is healthy. He's just resting. But we'll have to see how his knee actually goes during the week of the playoff game. And I will be at that playoff game, and I will be giving you guys footage. Just like all the other games that I went to this past year, the Cardinals game and the Vikings game. I was almost going to go to the Niners game, but I said, you know what, save the money. Let's go to the playoff game, and we'll spend the money over there because I'm going to need it for parking and gas and all that stuff. So I will be at that game, so stay tuned for that. And what a great performance by Jared Goff. 200 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 15 completions. So he completed 15 passes and 4 of those went for a touchdown, and he had 26 attempts. I thought he'd have about 250 yards, but I think they were being very conservative. They knew they could win this game with creating defensive turnovers, which they did, and they ran the ball and scored touchdowns, which they did. So I think his best pass in this game was a touchdown to Josh Reynolds. I think it was like at least 40-yard touchdown pass, 30 to 40-yard touchdown pass to the corner of the end zone, and he just threw a perfect dime. That's all Jared Goff knows how to do in most games, even though he had a rough patch of games the last 4 games. It didn't seem like Jared Goff was in his flow of things, but it looks like he's back to his old self, and hopefully he stays in that perfect form. Give the guy some rest, and let's take it to the NFC. He had a really good game, and our top receivers in this game were Brandon Cooks and Josh Reynolds, who both had 2 touchdowns and went both plus 50 yards receiving in this game. And both Brandon Cooks and Robert Woods are 1,200 yard receivers. So I think that's the first time that's happened since Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce. Such really good company, future Hall of Famers in my opinion. It should be in the Hall of Fame. They're just not in the Hall of Fame because there's other guys that have quite better numbers at the moment. But they're going to get in the Hall of Fame, and they're just doing a really good job of getting guys in for the Rams. I mean, they've had pretty good Hall of Famers recently, but I still think that Isaac Bruce needs to get in first, and then Torrey Holt. But that's Brandon Cooks and Robert Woods for you. Amazing receivers. Probably the most underrated guy in the Rams offense is Robert Woods, because when Cooper Kupp went down and Cooper Kupp's not here, who's the next guy to step up constantly all the time? And that's Robert Woods, either in the slot or in the outside. So they're both doing a really good job right now. And also Josh Reynolds is getting into his mode. When Josh Reynolds first came into the league, my very first couple of videos was that draft class with Ebukam and Cooper Kupp and Josh Reynolds. And I thought Josh Reynolds was going to be a pretty decent wide receiver for the Rams. Like, I know I've said that about certain players, and usually I've been kind of right. But when it came to Josh Reynolds, I knew that he was going to be that guy that you can just throw a deep pass, and he has really good hands. The thing is, he's not really good in the slot, in my opinion. He's more of an outside guy. I would kind of like to see Robert Woods play the slot, play the Cooper Kupp role, because he's that smart, that intelligent. And then just physically, I think Josh Reynolds' talent is more on the outside. But hey, if it works, it works. And in the slot position, at least in the deep throws, he's pretty good at those. So good for Josh Reynolds. He's such a really, really good player in this offense. Now, defensively, we're going to have to be talking about Aaron Donald with that 1 sack, but he created so much.
And there's the first sack of the afternoon for Aaron Donald. That gives him 20 and a half on the year. He is 2 away from tying Michael Strahan's NFL single-season record.
Well, speed and get off kills, right? You're asking a rookie, Mike McGlinchey, to come from outside down to protect the inside gap without any help. Well, you got a track star that's exploding out of the blocks like the Olympics here in the LA Coliseum. And look like Carl Lewis back in '84. That's impossible.
Wow.
That's not fair. You're not asking McGlinchey. You're asking McGlinchey to do something
That gets unseen is I think there's 2 plays where he ends up making turnovers because he's just creating so much pressure, QB hits, QB pressures, and I think he's first in sacks, tackles for loss, QB hits, and QB pressures in the NFL. So whenever anyone says Khalil Mack is Defensive Player of the Year, you got to chin check them and tell them, you know what, Aaron Donald is by far, bar none, the Defensive Player of the Season, back-to-back, homeboy. Just let him know. And he's just so damn good. In this game, he was just all over the place. And I like watching tape. I think this is one of the few games where the Ramley, all us Rams fans, are hoping that we see more defensive plays because we wanted Aaron Donald to break the record. But since Scamahan, in my opinion, Jeff Fisher is better than Shanahan, which I call him Scamahan because I think in his first 2 seasons he's probably had more wins than Shanahan has. So that's just my opinion. But he was trying to make it impossible for Aaron Donald to break the all-time sack record. So that really pissed me off. And that not only that, but then ended up getting Kettle the record for touchdown yards for a season. So we still ended up winning the game, but man, I would have loved to see Aaron Donald get that record, and it was basically impossible. And I still very, very rarely notice that the rest of the defensive line step it up, man. That's one of the things. Like, if Aaron Donald ain't getting the sacks, some of these guys got to step it up, especially in the playoffs. I want to see Dante Fowler get in there. I want to see Samson Ebukam and Donovan Sue and Michael Brockers be those players to get those sacks, man. But it ain't working right now. They're not contributing as much as Aaron Donald is at the moment, especially after the double teaming. So that leaves a lot of one-on-ones. So hopefully we can end up improving in that sense. Now, we did have sacks from other players like Mark Barron with one of the biggest hits I've seen on a quarterback this season. Just lay the wood on Mullins in this game. And then they ended up obviously calling a roughing the passer, which is BS because we're playing football, not soccer. And then we ended up having, of all people, Matt Longacre getting a sack. So I haven't heard his name in a long time, but he ended up getting on the stat sheet. Now, interceptions, there were plenty. Corey Littleton, I think, was the best player on defense today with 2 interceptions and 1 going for a touchdown. And then you had Countess on the end zone when they're trying to force feed Kittle for a touchdown. The ball gets deflected, and here comes Countess with the interception. All in all, the Rams just had a really good game, really good performance. And Greg Zuerlein was 100%, 2 field goals. His longest field goal was a 51-yarder. Probably would have gotten 61 yards if it was a little further back. And then Johnny Hecker with 130 punting yards. So, in all honesty, the Rams are just so dominant, so good, and basically that's why they won the game, because they were that good. Mullins had 3 touchdowns, garbage touchdowns, but then he had 3 interceptions, which basically meant, the game for them. But those 3 touchdowns all came in garbage time. This I think the Rams were ahead like 13 to 40 something by the half, if I'm not mistaken, or was it by the third quarter? So all that garbage touchdowns came in the fourth when we took out our players. They seem to be playing good football against our backups. So this is a really good revenge game from last year where the 49ers thought they were hot shit by beating the Rams backups. And Jimmy G ended up throwing 2 interceptions to our backup corners, so what a bittersweet taste for them. But we gave them a pretty good whooping, and there's nothing more that I prefer than the Rams end up getting sweeping the NFC West, may I say, and also the AFC West, plus a 13-3 record for the season, and second seed in the NFC. So we will be playing a home game in LA. So other than that, you guys, this game was so amazing. Hope you guys loved. I loved the season overall. I think I'm gonna make a quick recap about it. in general. I think it needs a separate video. Plus, I want to do a Rams award show, kind of like showing which players need to get more notification, more praise in this team. And also, I want to do just a total NFL rookie class all-star team that I thought was a really good rookie class this season. Talking about quarterbacks, wide receivers, linemen. So I'm gonna put my complete NFL rookie team, which is a really good idea that I had, and then also the award show for the NFL. So I think I'll do that. I'll do one video which has the NFL rookie class and the all-star team, my Pro Bowl selections, and without biases. So that will be fun. And then we'll continue with the playoff videos when we see who we're going to end up playing in the playoffs. And then also, just in general, this is a really good season. Starting the year, we thought, okay, this is a really good roster. We got star players. And wow, did Sean McVay do a really good job putting those players together, scheming them accordingly. And also Wade Phillips getting that defense, getting his guys on defense, and creating more turnovers this season than probably last year. And then just being a better football team than last year. Obviously, the record indicates that. And we also, in my opinion, played harder teams this season than we did last year. And we were going toe-to-toe with some of the best in the NFC and AFC this year, and we ended up 13-3. So that's a really good record. We should be proud of that record, but we got to go win this game, and I can't wait. And hopefully we go play in New Orleans, beat the New Orleans Saints, or maybe they lose in their first playoff game. Who knows how this will turn out, but hopefully we ended up winning that NFC Championship game and then going to the Super Bowl. Until next time, you guys, go Rams, horns up. Whose house? Rams house.